We are here to talk to you about a game called Blueprints. And when I say Blueprints, I don't mean Prince, P-R-I-N-T-S, I mean P-R-I-N-C-E. Also, and don't turn away, it's not a board game. I know, you're on a board game channel, you're going like, I didn't tune in for a non-board game video.
But it's not a board game.
It's not a board game, and that's about as confusing as the game gets, because the game has tile laying in it, has tile drafting in it, has what a lot of people would call a deck building, bag building type aspect, because there are some things you can do to affect the tiles that you're laying. But you're laying out the blueprints, P-R-I-N-T-S, of a big mansion, because you've just inherited this mansion, but the trick is you have to find room 46 in order to keep it. There's a big grid where you're laying these tiles. You're going to start every day. And yes, this is kind of a roguelike game where you're going to take runs at this and hopefully get better. The interesting thing about that rogue aspect on this one is you are doing some things that affect the game itself, but more than anything, in my opinion, it's the knowledge that you're gaining.
Right.
That's going to help you in future runs.
Right, and if that doesn't make sense, it will. And the reason that we wanted to talk about this game is because for me, I can say this, it triggers everything I love about board games. Because yes, it is a video game, and it's not just like a digital implementation of a board game. This is like a full 3D first-person video game, but you're moving through this manor, and every time you open a door, you reach into that bag, and you draw 3 tiles. And the contents of that bag, like David said, that you start with a certain amount of contents, but it's persistent. Every time you play the game, the contents of that bag, as you add tiles or change tiles or remove tiles, that carries over. So you kind of know the pool that you have to deal with, but you're going to get 3 of those tiles, and you're going to choose one, and you're going to place it in your grid, just like you would on any tile placement game. But the fun part, and I guess I should say, with those tile placement, a lot of the stuff that you'd expect from that kind of a game is there. There's colored tiles, there's tiles that want you to have other tiles, there's tiles that benefit from having multiple, like, whatever. But you get to explore each one of the tiles like in this 3-dimensional space. And that's like what I've always wanted.
Yeah, because the game is built around a first-person view where you're moving through these things. And like Ryan said, you come up to a door, click on it, choose a tile, that door opens to the room that you chose, the tile that you chose. Now, the tiles also, and this is probably the most important thing about the tiles, in my opinion, is there are different combinations of doors on the tiles. Some doors might be a dead end. You know, some might have 3 doors going off of it, which are great because then you're going to have more options to explore further. Because a run is going to end in one of a couple ways. One, if you've built rooms such that you have nowhere else to go, which, believe me, happens. In fact, it'll almost happen to everyone's first run where they're just like figuring the game out and going, oh. Or you can run out of steps because at the beginning of every run, you have an amount of steps. At the beginning of the game, it's 50. And every time you move between rooms, you're going to burn steps. Like 1 step. There's some rooms that might take away some steps. There's some rooms that might give you some steps back. So it's a resource that you're going to manage along with a few other resources like gems and keys, because yes, money. Some of the doors are locked, and money. But you're exploring this, and the reason we wanted to do this video is we are both absolutely obsessed with this game, and it's not just the 2 of us. It's my wife, Alicia, my son, Spencer, Emily. I told about it, and she's been playing it all weekend. She's actually found room 46, of course. Emily and Brian found room 46.
They're good at puzzle games.
But it's an amazing game, and I think if you're a board gamer and you have any interest in playing any video games, this is a really good mashup of those types of interests. And if you know old video games, I'd say this too. If you played games in the past like Myst from way back in the day, those games where you walk around like an island and there's like puzzles to solve, it feels a little like that. But instead of it just being a static map, you're building the map every time you play from the beginning. And there's no saving. You do a run until you end, and the next time you play the game, you're starting from the beginning again and going through and trying to find new rooms. And new rooms, like we're finding new rooms, I'm like, oh, have you been to this room? And Ryan's like, what?
No,
I've not been to that room. Yet. So you have a little conversation like that, and then we both instantly want to just rush back to playing.
I'm going to go play it as soon as the video's done. But for me, for board gamers out there, because we do a board game channel, it's like, this is the best way I can describe it. It's like playing Castles of Mad King Ludwig, but then when your castle's built, you get to walk through it.
As you're building it.
But even as you're building it,
Yeah.
which is really cool. The difference is like in castles, you have all these weirdly shaped tiles. These are all squares, so they all fit like nicely into that grid. But it's that same feeling, except instead of trying to score points, you know, like when you're playing Castles of Mad King Ludwig and it says, this bedroom is worth X amount of points if it's next to this other room. There's stuff like that in the game where it's like, this room works better if you have this other room next to it. And so you're looking at like, what tiles do I have left to draft? Because if you do it right, well, and a little bit of luck, but if you do it right and you're a little lucky, you can go through all your tiles. So you're like, well, I have 10 tiles left and one of them is the one that needs to be here. Let me go to other areas and hope that I can like cycle them out so that when I come back here, it definitely is one of the 3. And there's a lot of thinking. And again, like David said, a lot of this just comes with repeat plays. And you're like, okay, well, if I go to this room first, it gives me this. Then if I find this room later, it gives me this. And then as you move up the grid, the higher you place your rooms in this grid, some of them do better things the higher up they are. So you're like, if you draft a tile early, you're like, I don't really want it to be this early in the game to get this tile.
Yeah, so
but if I don't
ignore it, but then it might not
come back.
You might not see it come back
you're
up.
drawn out of this,
it is
this
random.
bag, basically.
There are some mitigation things. There are some dice you can. There's items you can find to do all sorts of things, both in the world and with the tile drafting. But the other thing the game does that's really interesting is you have that overall goal. The goal of the game is to find the elusive Room 46. However, as you do runs, you're going to find other things that you want to try to get to the bottom of, because this game lays mysteries at your feet all the time. So you might find yourself doing a run and going, you know what, I'm not going to really care about that. My goal right now is to get the library because I heard this and this other thing. There was a note that I found that made me want to get to that room and uncover, all sorts of stuff like that. If you can't tell, we are really just rabidly obsessed with it.
It is an exceptional game. It does things for me, and I find myself wondering, too, if this game appeals to me so much because I do love tile placement games, and I do love that idea of like building out this perfect grid, but I've seen a lot of non-board gamers who are video game people, and it's resonating just as much with them, too, and I'm thinking it's maybe because they never really got to experience, like, they're missing that board game element in their life, and like, they're like, oh, this could be a fun, actual physical board game even.
Yeah, this game will be on a lot of Game of the Year lists at the end of the year.
Can I put it on my top 10 board games of the year?
I don't know about that. But for video games, this will probably be on a lot of people's top 10s. It'll probably be nominated for Game of the Year. If you're interested in it, check it out. It's for free if you have Game Pass. It's for free if you have PlayStation Plus Extra. Yeah. And I think on Steam, it's like around $24. So it's not going to break the bank.
Right.
But man, it is really worthwhile. And I think anyone who tries it is going to. And you have to try it a few times. Don't give up after the first run. But man, once you get in there, you're going to want to keep playing.
Oh, it's got me hooked.
Yeah, so if you have any questions, we will be more than happy to answer them in the comments. And if you're playing, let us know, because every time we talk about it with someone, it just makes everyone want to play it more.
Yeah.
Until next time, though, make sure everyone has fun at the table, and we'll see you then.